Hi, Aarti. Good evening.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
Aarti, could you confirm if you could able to see the empty day 5 notepad or note?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Okay. So, like, I'll let me start the session. Okay. So, yesterday we started with a question called LC217, which is contains duplicate. So, we saw the brute force approach of it, and we will continue with the best approach. So yesterday we saw how to solve the solution, how to get to the solution, but the problem with the solution is the time complexity is O of n square, right? And so that is the main problem with this because we have a for loop inside a for loop. We have a nested for loops. I have already said that when you have a single for loop, it is the time complexity is O of n. Since we have two for loop, it is O of n square. O of n into O of n. So O of n square, which is actually a very bad time complexity. So we wanted to come up with a very better approach. Okay. So now we are going to see a second approach where what we are going to do is the problem is we have an array. Example, this is an array. We wanted to find the duplicate, right? So instead of writing two for loop, my next approach would be like, let me sort the array. Okay. So approach two is like sort the array and then compare the neighboring elements. Okay. So what will happen when you sort this particular array? It will come up like this: 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'll do, I will compare 0 with 1. Okay. Anyway, we found the duplicate. For example, the sorted array, let's do with a different output. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. In this case, we will compare 0 with 1. They are not same. We will move. We will compare 1 with second element, which is 2 and 3, which is not same. We will move forward. And then we'll compare 3 against 4, which is not same. We will move forward. And then we will compare this. And we found both the elements are same. Because when you sort the element, duplicate will always be next to each other, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Yeah. So this is the other approach. Let's see how do we do. Okay. Let me write the pseudocode. Okay. First, I will sort the numbers in the array. Okay. And then what I'll do, I will I have a for loop because I want to traverse an array. If you have to traverse an array, you have to go with the for loop because here we are going through all the elements in the array from starting from 0 to n minus 1. So I have to go with the for loop for every element from 1 to n minus 1. So uh, so this this is the other way. For example, if we have an array 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 4, I will start with first element compare with 0 and second element compare with 1, comparing this and this, comparing this and this. Either we can go from right to left or we can do this also, left to right or right to left. Okay. So here what I'll do, I will check if first element is equivalent to 1. So which is nothing but num of, anyway your I is starting from 1, right? So I will put 1, sorry, I will put I is equal to, we are gonna check zeroth element, which means I minus 1, correct? Okay. If it is true, if they are same, it will return true. Okay. Otherwise, for example, there is no duplicate at all. The full for loop will run and it will come to, it will exit the for loop. That time we will return false. Okay. So this is a pseudocode. Do you have any doubt with the pseudocode? Later on, make sure that you come. Okay. So let me put the corresponding Python in Tony. Okay. Contain duplicate brute force. Okay. Let me. Okay. I have saved it. So here the same, whatever we have seen in the pseudocode. First we are sorting. This is a command to sort a array in Python. Okay. And then we have a for loop starting from 1 to n minus 1, which is nothing but the length of the array. And then we are comparing I with I minus 1. Okay. If it is written true, otherwise false. Okay. And we are calling this with this array. Okay. This is the input of the array. So let me run it in a debug mode. So this particular function is created into a memory. Then it comes to line number 11. It is, okay. So the problem is this particular function is not there in the memory. Okay. Let me stop and rerun. Function is created, going to line number 11, analyzing the input, understanding the input. Then it calls, so here you see a different window is opened. Okay. Okay. However, this particular local variable's font size is not increasing. Okay. So initially it goes and sort. Okay. So let's see how it is sorting. It is sorted internally. It actually goes through some for loop or something. And then now we are taking the range of 1. Okay. 47. Sorry, 60. 60 is the first value. 47 is the zeroth value. It will take. And here it will take 47, which is I minus 1, 0. Here it became 0. Now it is going to pick the 0th index, 47, which is not same. So it is returning false. Going to the second element, I is now incremented to 2. Initially I was 1. Now it is incremented to 2. And it is taking 78, comparing it with 60. Correct? And it is false. It is going to the third element. Third element here is 78, and the second element is also 78. Okay. So it found the match, which is actually the if condition is now turning true. Okay. So when it is true, it goes and execute this particular statement, which is return true. It is returning true. Okay. Here we haven't had the print statement. You can add a print here. I can add a print here and also print here. Okay, so now it will print a duplicate found and it will exit the program because we are returning. Okay, any question, doubts with this approach?
No.
Okay, and here when you see the time complexity, let me go back to the note. Okay, here when you see the time complexity, we are doing two operation here. So time complexity is like you calculate the time it took for each operation. Okay, for loop we know it is O of n, correct? Which is standard. You can mug up this for loop is O of n, and for sorting it is O of
Which
n
one
log n.
contains list of
Okay, so it is O of n log n into O of n. Okay, and we know O of n log n is nothing but we have seen something log yesterday.
Okay, this is so here are we considering the worst case or best case?
Here
How
we are
come
always
okay.
considering the worst case.
How come
Time
we can
complexity is
compare it?
calculated only
Only
with the worst case.
45% students got this right.
Okay, so let me, I'll have to teach some more thing in log before I explain this. Okay, but for now, what I wanted to say is O of n log n is better than O of n. Okay, so instead of telling, for example, 1 log n will be O of n will be always greater than O of n log n. Okay, n log n will be better. Okay, so yesterday what we saw was O of n square, but today, sorry, okay, the total time complexity is better than yesterday's. Okay, O of n log n. Let me show you the third approach. Okay, we have another approach also, which is a very optimized approach. Okay, here we will be using something called set. Okay. In Python, it is set. There are similar thing in the other language. If you are interested about what other language has, okay. So in Python, we call it a set. In Java, we have something called hash set. Okay. So let me explain what is set. Uh, Set is nothing but when you put values inside set, it will not allow the duplicate by default. Okay. By default, you cannot add a duplicate into it. Okay. But we will see what we are going to do. Algorithm is nothing but the idea. The idea is set will not accept duplicate, which means if it already has a value inside it, it will not allow the same value to be added to the set. Okay. But how we are gonna solve with pseudocode is first we create a empty set. Okay. We are creating an empty set. Okay. Maybe X. Okay. Then what we do, we will traverse the array for every element. We will traverse every element of the array. Then we are gonna see, we are gonna check after we add, for example, we are gonna have if condition. Is there is some problem with the screen? Because I see there is a screen is opening and closing. You are able to see my screen properly, right? Guys?
Okay, yeah. So we will figure out.
Okay. In my end only the screen got closed. Let me open it. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to add every element into the set. Okay, we have an array called 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we are going to create a set and then later I'll be adding 1 into the set. Okay, and then we will be adding 2. Okay, so while I'm adding 3 into the set, I will check if the set already has 3 inside it. Okay, so while adding, I will check only then I will add. Okay, so before adding 4, I will check if 4 is already there inside the set. If not, if it's already there, then I understood there is a duplicate. I will exit telling the we found a duplicate. If it is not, if it is not available inside it, then I will be proceeding with the remaining value. Okay. Let's see up. So here is my pseudocode. First, I will create an empty set. Then I'll traverse through all the element in an array. Then I will be adding. Before adding, I will see if the number is already there in the set. Okay, the set name is nothing but here scene. Okay, I will check if it is already there. If it is already there, I will return true. If it is not there, then I'll keep adding it. Okay. Then if we do not found, if we never found any duplicate, we will be exiting this for loop and we will be printing this return. Okay, return false, which means we are going to tell that there is no duplicate found. Okay, so here is a step by step execution. So this is an array input. Okay, now we are adding creating a new set called scene. Initially we will be adding 1. Okay, and then we are going to add 2, and then we are going to add 3. But before adding, we are checking whether the number is already there. Okay, then now when we are adding the last value 1, we know that it is already there in the set. Okay, so we understood that there is a duplicate. Now let's go to the equivalent Python code. Let me copy the input from the previous. So why do I have print statement before the return statement? Can I have it in a different order, like first return and then print? Anybody has any idea about that? Why are we doing this order? Why can't we put the line number 10 to 9 and 9 to 10?
We cannot find a duplicate. It won't inform after the return.
Correct. So when you run the return statement, it will exit the program. Either if you are doing return here, right? For example, the second value only while traversing, you found a duplicate, you are running this return. In that case, it will not go through any other line in the code. It will exit the program. Okay. After, if I place it print after return, that will not never be executed. It will all it because it is gonna exit. Okay. So that is why we place print before if condition. Let me execute this program. Okay. So let's go to step by step.
Ma'am, how do we know how long it takes the program run? Is there a way to find it?
So you are asking about the time complexity, right?
Yeah. How
Okay.
much time it took?
Yeah. So I haven't started anything about time complexity because before understanding time complexity, you have to be very strong with the logarithm. So that is why yesterday we started with logarithm. How do you calculate everything? There is again a formula. Like there is a table which will tell for which kind of code what is the time complexity. Okay. I will later
Okay.
explain how.
Okay.
For
Okay.
now, I've
Sure.
said for loop, the time complexity is O of n. Okay. Later in the stage, I will explain why for loop time complexity is O of n. Okay. But that again, a bit complex topic. I'll explain that. But even after understanding, you cannot execute it every time when you see a for loop. I will explain, right, why it is O of n, how the calculation is done. It is a very big process. Even after understanding, you cannot do it every time. Whenever you see a program, you wanted to find a time complexity, you will not go into that mathematical mode to find it. So that is why what they have did, for loop means O of n, sorting means O of log n. So we have come up with a table. Okay, we just have to
Okay,
mug up that table, but I'll explain. So 1 minute, I
okay,
will
sure. Thanks.
show that. Because if I go into time complexity, it is a very vague topic. You will lose interest in learning DSA. So that is why every day slowly we are seeing one pieces from time complexity. If I take it for continuous 3 days, just about time complexity, it will be very boring. Okay. So this is a time complexity chart which you have to table which you have to mug up. Okay. So these are for algorithm. For algorithm, we know like the only the worst case. In time complexity, we have theta, delta, and theta, and this is gamma or something, and this is O. Okay. We are always will be giving a worst case. Okay. And for this, we have seen algorithm, we have a table, and also for each operation like for loops, sorting, for that also we have a separate table. I don't have it handy now. We will see that slowly. Okay. Now let me go back to the code. So
Uh,
here,
I have a,
uh-huh.
I have a confusion that earlier you said unlogin is better than login or login is better than unlogin. So I was just confused.
No, sorry. Sorting is not n log n. Okay, 1 minute. Sorting is log n. But in the previous program, we saw for loop O of n, and we also saw sorting, which is O of log n. We saw both. Okay, so we are multiplying them, and at the end we got O of n log n. Okay, sorting is O of log n.
Okay, okay, fine.
Okay. I
Yeah,
will give you the chart later. Maybe in tomorrow or day after tomorrow class, we will get to that. We will
sure, sure.
complete that. Okay. Now coming back to this program, we are creating a set. Okay. Scene. The set name is scene. This is a command. If you're giving equal to set, which means we are telling create a set on the name scene. Okay. Then what's happening? A set is created. Uh, Okay, I have in a memory, I see a set is created. Here I see existing variable and set is created. Then it go traverse all the elements in the array and it is checking whether 47, the first element, is already available in the set. No, because we have not added anything into the set yet. Okay, so it will tell false and we are gonna add that 47 into the set. Okay, so now set has one element which is 47. Then it will again go second element. Second element is again added 78. Okay. And then we are going checking 60, which is also not available. If 60 is there in the set now has 78 and 47. Is it there? No. So it will return false. Okay. Now the 60 is added. Okay. And then it will go for the last element 78. It is again checking if 78 is there. Yeah, it is there. 78 is present in the set. So true, then it will print duplicate and then a return statement is triggered, which will exit the program. Okay. So this particular extra window is closed. The program is stopped.
And set is unlimited array or how it will be?
Everything can be like you can add n number of element into it, even into the set. But set will not have, cannot hold the duplicate value. So like array, we have another data um, structure called set, which is not widely used, only for the sorting and to remove duplicate. Only for that purpose we go for a set. For example, I cannot have a duplicate value. For example, I cannot have a duplicate Aadhaar number. There is a database where I'm adding all the Aadhaar number, which is always unique. Okay. So in that case, I can create a set. So that set will take care that it never adds a duplicate Aadhaar number. Or if you're creating a Gmail account, the Gmail ID can never be duplicate, right? So you can create a set. So it will create a constraint. Constraint means it will add a rules on it, telling there is no duplicate created, and it will never allow a duplicate to be created. Okay. And here, when we come back to this program, when you see, we did only sorting. Okay. After that, we didn't do any other operation. Sorry, we did only for loop. We didn't do anything else. Okay. So here the time complexity is O of n, which is better than the brute force approach, which is O of n squared, and the sorting approach, which is O of n log n. This is O of n. Okay. Clear?
Yeah.
Let me post this here. So we just saw with yesterday's and today's class 3 approach to solve the problem. Let me increase the font size. Solving the problem, we saw brute force, and we also saw sorting. Hash it is nothing but set. Okay, in Java it is called the hash set. Here this is a time complexity and this is a space complexity. And here it is O of space complexity is O of n. Everywhere else in the set O of n, because you are creating another variable called set, right? You are creating another data type set and you are adding, you are getting a new memory for it. So it is O of n. And then here you compare every element. This is just the idea what we are going to do. Okay. And then we are telling when to use what. Okay. It's not that always you have to go with one approach. Sometimes if the input is very small or just for teaching purpose, we go for brute force. But this is overall best. But if you have problem with the space, usually when we discuss any problem in interview, we give more importance to the time complexity, because space complexity will not change much with a different approach. Okay. And then again, there will be always there won't be any problem with the memory sometime. But if there is a scenario where the interviewer is telling, no, I do not have enough memory, then you have to tell, okay, though Ashit is better, though the set approach is better, since you said you do not have enough memory, you wanted to, you are very concerned about the memory, I will go with the sorting approach. So that is how we have to like answer based on the question they ask. And yeah, this table has everything. Similarly, we will be having a table for every problem we solve. And now, coming back to, let's go to lead code. Okay, let's go to lead code and answer LCU 217. Where is lead
Any
code?
book I can references in addition to this one? Or
Yeah, there is a book called Cracking the Coding Interview, because there will be different types of interviews. Okay, mainly the first step will be the coding. Coding will be nothing but DSA and algorithm will be discussed, and whatever we see in the lead code, no, the question will be definitely one from the lead code. Okay. And there are different categories in lead code: easy, medium, and hard. This course is all based on the easy lead code question, because we are all the beginners. And the it depends on the company. If it's a Google, Meta, they will have medium and hard. They will have one medium. If you are passing it, they will have two more hard question. Okay, hard. And if it's a very not well established like Google, other product based, they might ask easy and medium. Okay. And cracking the coding interview and grokking algorithm. These are the two books which I referred to teach this course. I've gone through
What is
multiple
the
other
second
material.
one? What is the second?
Grokking algorithm. Grokking, grokking algorithm. So let's go
Thank
to
you.
217. Okay, contains duplicate. Okay, I've already pasted the answer here. What we are doing, we are creating a set and then we are adding each element into the set and then we are returning false. So let's go through the question one time, okay? Given an array, return true if any value appear at least twice. Otherwise, tell false if all the elements are distinct, okay? And then they are given at three different example. So your program should be able to give solution for all three example. So let me run this. So case 1 is passed, case 2 is passed, case 3 is also passed. So this is our input and what they are expecting is true and we are also returning true. Okay, let me submit this. Okay, we have submitted this solution into LeetCode. Similarly, please do submit, okay, in your LeetCode profile. Let me paste the answer into the Teams chat. So this is for 217. Since you have understood this, you can directly go and paste it in your LeetCode. Scene.addNum. Okay. Ketan, I just saw your chat. Okay. Scene.addNum means nothing but we are adding every element, whatever we are getting from this for loop, whatever we are getting, the num, we are adding into scene. What is scene? Scene is nothing but a set we have created initially. We are adding every element from the array into a set. Array is one type of data structure. Set is another type of data structure. Okay, the only difference between array and set is set will not have a duplicate value, cannot hold a duplicate value. Clear, guys? Okay, so you can go through books like the grokking and coding interview books. Another good platform is Geek for Geek. Geek for Geek is a very good platform. Few solutions are discussed there. And the other platform is directly you have to go and try it in LeetCode.
Can you put it in chat, please? What is the name?
Okay. But if you are, I'll put it, Geek for Geek. But if you are planning to attend this interview regularly, no, you need not go through any of this. Okay, I'll be covering all the easy problem in this course. So there might be thousand of easy problem available in LeetCode. But what is the first 30 LeetCode easy question which I solve, which I understand? If you there are some 30 to 40 question, if you understand this 30 to 40 question, no, you can solve the remaining 1000. Only there will be a little tweak here and there with the same question, there will be a little tweak. Okay, for example, on the second class we saw concatenating array. Initially I said I have given array A, I said concatenate the same array into a new array. For example, create a new array, add array A and again add array A, so that you have two array value into the single array. What is a light modification I have made? Instead of giving array A, I have given array A and B. Then I ask you to concatenate. The algorithm, the idea behind how do you add it into a new array is same. Okay. The input is slightly changing. So I'll be teaching all the top easy question, which will be enough to solve any other easy question. Okay. Um, when I started learning DSA, I initially started with grokking algorithm and then coding interview, cracking the coding interview, and I also referenced Geek for Geek whenever I couldn't understand them. So if you are planning to attend my full course, then you need not go through anything. All the easy will be covered. Okay. Okay, so now we just have 20 more minutes. Now let's see something about time complexity. Okay, so first of all, why the time complexity is calculated? Why can't we just run the program, and while running, it will show the time it took. So here in here you see it took 11 millisecond. The runtime is 11 millisecond for this question in lead code. Why can't we go with the time directly instead of calculating the time complexity? So the answer is I might be running in Windows. You might be running in Mac. Another person might be running in a supercomputer. So based on the processor and the CPU, your runtime might change. The same solution might be better for supercomputer person, might be even more better for Mac, but might be bit less for Windows. It based on the configuration I have in my CPU, right? So the same solution is giving different runtime, then that is not the right way to measure the efficiency of the program. That is why they have come up with something called time complexity. Okay, and so let's see. Imagine there is a classroom of 100 students, okay, in which you gave your pen to one person. Now you have to find that pen without knowing to whom you have given it, okay. Here are some ways to find the pen, okay. Uh, so you can go and ask the first person in the class, okay, if he is having a pen, good, okay. Uh, Also, you can ask this person about the other 99 people in the class, okay, if they have that pen or not, okay. uh, so this we will call, let me go back to my OneNote. So you go and ask each person, okay, which is nothing but O of n square, and then you are going and ask each student individually. So initially what you did, you went to one person and you asked that person to go and ask the remaining person, okay. So then we are going and asking yourself individually, then how many students are there? For example, why I'm representing n is sometime a class might have 50 student, okay, the other class might have 90 student, the input might be different, 50, it can be 90, it can be 100. So what I'm telling is, if the student is n, you have to go to n student. You have to reach out to n student. Okay. If it is 50, replace n with 50. If it is 90, replace n with 90. That's what I'm telling. Okay. And now there is another way also. Now I divide the class into two group. Okay. Then I ask, is it on the left side or right side? Okay. They are telling, if you know that it is on the left side, half group is divided. For example, if you have 50 students and I'm dividing into two half, okay, 25 and 25. If I know whether it is there on left or right, if I know if it is on the left side, this I'll never go to these 25 students. Now my now I have just 25 students, right? Though my input is 50, my input is half reduced. Correct? Then again, what I'll do? I will again go to this 25. I will divide into 12, 13, for example. Since it is a odd number, I'm dividing something like this. Okay. Again, I will ask if it is there in the left or right. Correct. If I get to know that it is here, okay, then I will again go and divide 6, 6. Then again, I will go and divide 3, 3. Okay. Finally, I found one. Sorry, my screen is not scrolled. From 50, I reached to 1, right? Step by step. I took how many steps? I took maybe 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. I took 5 steps, correct? So I just asked the question whether this group has the pen. I just asked this question 5 times instead of asking all the 50 student. Okay. Here my input is reduced to 1 by 10, correct? If n is equal to 50, I just asked n by 10, which is 5. Correct. So here I can, so exactly it is not 5, exactly it is not 10, sorry, 50. Let's consider it as log n. Okay. So let's see. Let me give you an example. If n is equal to 100, log n is nothing but 2 to the power of 100, which is nothing but so instead of going to a big number, okay, let me go with this. Okay, if n is equal to 8, okay, what is log n? Log n is nothing but 3 because we know yesterday we saw the log, how to solve log. Here it is nothing but when you have 2 here, when you have 8 here, you just have to see how many times. If you multiply 2 by itself, you will get 8. So this power is the answer here, correct? So it is 3. So let's see. If I have 8 student, I will divide them into 4. And then I imagine this one part is eliminated. I divided them into 2. Okay, again one more part is eliminated. Then I divide them into 1. So how many steps you took? 1, 2, 3. You have taken 3 steps. So that is why instead of telling n divided by 10 or not, I'm telling log n. Any number. The class can be 100 student or 8 student or 10 student. You will always need log n number of steps. In case of 8, it is 3. That's what we have seen here. Okay. In case of 100, it will be what is the value of log 2 of 100. Understood? Why we are having log here? Guys, is it clear? Any doubt with log? Okay. I hope it is clear. So when you do divide and conquer, what we did now, this dividing 8 into 4 and then 2 and then 1, this is nothing but divide and conquer. You are dividing one particular group into 2. You are dividing them and you are conquering. You are telling one is eliminated, one is considered. So for divide and conquer, this is one of the algorithm. Okay. For divide and conquer, the time complexity is always log n. Okay. When the input is 8, we found the answer is 3. We take 3 steps. Okay. So time complexity is nothing but how many steps you really take. Lavisha is asking about explain log again. Uh, La- Lavisha, I will just explain it simply. Okay. So if I have 8 students, if still not clear, you can check the recording and then we can discuss offline later. So if you have 8 student, I wanted to know which student is having my pen. I have given it to somebody. I don't know who is that. If I wanted to know who is having the pen, one approach is I will go and ask each student, right? I will go and ask each student, which means I have to go to 8 student. Okay, how many steps I have taken to complete my problem? I have taken 8 steps because I have reached to all the 8 student individually and I got to know who is having the pen. See, if the fifth person only is having the pen, it only takes 5 steps. But we know the time complexity is calculated based on the worst case. What is worst case? Okay, if I have 8 students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, if the first person only is having the pen, which is worst, best case. Okay, because I go to the class, ask the first person, I get the pen. I took only one step. Okay, if the third person, fourth person is having the pen, okay, I go one after another. Then on the fourth step, I find my pen. Okay, so it took me 4 steps. Okay, if at all the eighth person is having, I will go with the worst case. Okay, let's imagine the eighth person is having the pen. So here I have to take 8 step. I have to go and ask each person. So consider this like a for loop. I'm recursively going and doing the same step. I'm going one after another. What is the action I'm doing? Asking if they are having a pen or not. Okay. So here we saw a array also 1 comma 4 comma finding the duplicate. If it is 1 only is having duplicate, you will find in the first step. If 4 is having duplicate, it will be at the end, right? If you have 100 element and the last element is having the duplicate, that is the worst case. Correct? There are best case, average case, and worst case. But time complexity, we have always have to tell the worst case. Okay, that's how we have to answer in the interview. That's how we have to calculate. We have to ignore the best and average case. Okay, now coming back to the worst case. So for each student, one approach is ask everybody. I took 8 steps. Okay, and I have another approach. So I divide the class into equally half. Okay, I divide 4 students here, 4 students here. Okay, I ask this group, do you have my pen? They are telling no. Okay, I understood it is no. Then I will eliminate these 4 students. Okay, but one time I have asked, one step I have taken, I have asked, they said no. So now I have to go to this 4 student. Again, instead of asking them, I will divide into 2 equal. Then again I will ask whether you are having pen. This particular team is telling no. Then again I have to, I have already taken one more step here at this. So now I'm asking somebody. So this guy is telling no, I don't have your pen. So this guy is having my pen. I took one more step here. Correct? I going and asking. So I took 3 steps in this algorithm where we are dividing the group into two and asking each group whether they have or not. Okay. Okay. So now what's happening is we took 3 steps. How do I tell how many? If I go with the first algorithm, that is asking every student, if it is 8 student, I can tell it will take 8 steps. If it is 100 student, I can tell it is 100 steps. So based on the number of students, the steps will be. So I will tell for n student, the time complexity is O of n, which means I have to take n step. But with divide and conquer, where I divided into two people equally, recursively we are dividing, right? There for 8 students, it took 3 steps. How is this calculated? Here, directly I put the n. Here, if you take log of 8, you will get 3. So, nothing but log base to 8 is equal to 3. Yesterday, we have seen 2 power 3 is equal to 8. And this 3, this 2 and 8 are this side. The power will be this side. So, log base 2 of 8 is nothing but 3. So when you do divide and conquer, you take 3 steps. We got that answer here. So if it is n student, you have to take log n steps. N can be anything. The input can be anything. Is it clear now? Okay. Lavisha, is it clear now? I did explain only for you since you said it's not clear. Can I move ahead?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I don't know whether you were there yesterday while I was explaining how to calculate log. Okay. Now let me continue with the remaining topics of log. Okay. We saw that why we are calculating time complexity, because everybody can be running on different computer which will have different runtime. Okay. So time complexity. So they have come up with one particular formula which will be applicable for any computer you run to access your program. Okay. So for example, this is the input. Okay. This is the number of steps you have taken. Okay. In the graph. So for example, if the input is 8, you took 3. Okay. If the input is 100, there will be some particular number, or it will not directly go to 100. It will be 16, 32. So the input is increasing. My number of steps also will increase, right? So I plot a line here, and this is called O. Okay. So we are telling with the increasing input, what is your rate of increasing in the steps to come up to the solution? Rate of increase in, with rate of increase in input, what is the rate of increase in step? How much step you have to increase to come up with the solution? Okay. So this is how the time complexity is calculated. Is the rate at which time taken when with respect to the increase in the input. Okay. So how is this calculated is, we are here estimating the time and memory space required by an algorithm, okay, to execute in a system. And also your, let's, for this you have to understand the CPU time, okay. Time is nothing but CPU time, time complexity, okay. And 1 minute, I will come down. Okay, time complexity is nothing but CPU time taken. Okay, and space complexity is nothing but the memory space. Okay, memory space of the. So we are concerned only about the CPU and the memory space of a computer. Okay, of a system. How CPU time is calculated? CPU time is nothing but CPU computation. How many time it computes particular instruction. So CPU, you all know CPU is nothing but CPU will have uh, CPU will have many memory and many thing. Okay, it will execute the instruction. What the CPU ultimate does for you is it will execute particular task or instruction. Okay, so here the CPU computation is nothing but a task or instruction executed by the CPU. Okay, so time complexity is nothing but number of instruction you have executed. Got it? Okay. And then again coming back to memory, coming back to the memories, space complexity memory, it is a random access memory, okay, and which is a temporary storage. A data or instruction is saved, okay. A RAM is nothing but a temporary storage which is closer to the CPU execution engine, okay. There we store the data or the particular instruction, and then CPU will come to this memory and fetch every time. Like for example, when we were executing in Tony, we saw something called the local variable is created, where array is added, set is added, I is added. All these local variables are added into that uh, Tony, right? So this is nothing but the space. This is nothing but a space you need to execute particular program. Okay. And So here nothing but you are calculating the CPU instruction you needed and also the memory you needed. CPU instruction is you are nothing but you are telling the total number of execution frequency. Okay. So for example, for 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If I wanted to travel the array, I mean traverse the array, which means I wanted to go each element in an array and I wanted to print it. Okay. So let's see. Okay, let's see a simple example instead of jumping to for loop. Okay, I have an algorithm. Okay, and maybe it is summing. Okay, you are adding an element. Here I have a and n. Okay, here this is nothing but number of elements. Okay, number of elements I have, and here I have sum is equal to 0 and I have a for loop. Okay, for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to, sorry, this is I less than or equal to n, I plus plus, which is nothing but from the first element you are reaching till the last element. Okay, until you reach the n, because you know n is the number of element. After n you do not have any other element further to traverse. Sum is equal to you are adding each element. Okay, and then you are returning the sum. So this is a simple program. Now let's see. So for example, you have here you have one unit. Okay, sum. This is one unit. Okay, and this is n unit, because how many times you will run I plus plus? For example, you have 8 elements. Okay, you have 8 elements: a, b, c, d, e, f, g, h. Okay, how many times you will do I plus plus? First, initially you are on first element, you will do I plus plus to go to the next element. One time you have did, then again you will do to reach second element. Another time you did 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you will do 8 times. Then you will reach the last element. After that, you will not execute this I plus plus. Correct? So this I plus plus will be run for how many times? N times. Correct? This sum is equal to 0 is only at the starting. You will initialize a new variable called sum and then you will assign 0. After that, this never executed. Only this for loop is executed until you return the sum. Correct? This is executed. How many times it is executed? It is based on the I plus plus, because this is an increment. This will tell go again and again. How many times you are executing? N times. N is nothing but the number of items you have, which you have to traverse. Correct? This is one time you are doing, this is n time. This for loop alone you are running for n times. Okay. Okay. Then this sum, no, how many times you are executing? I have a picture. I will post it here. So this sum, no, how many times you execute? You do 2 times of n. Okay. If your for loop is going for 8 times, then you will be doing this for sum for 16 times. Because sum is equal to sum plus a of I. Correct? this sum will execute n times, and this a of I will be running n times, right? If I have to one time run the sum, one time I have to get the sum, one time I have to get the a of I, correct? For one time of getting the sum, I have to do this one time, do this one time, totally two. If I have to do this sum for n times, how many times? All both together I have to do 2 times of n, correct? Clear how we got this 2 of n times?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, so the sum is executed one time. This for loop is I plus plus is executed n times. This sum is executed 2 of n times. Got it? So we are going to each line of the code and we are seeing how many times they are executed. Okay, some are straightforward, only one time executed. For example, this sum no is executed only one time, but this for loop is executed multiple times. So this particular line is executed n times, and this particular line is executed 2 of n time. Okay, and the return of sum is always executed only one, because that is the last statement, and after running that you will exit the program. Okay, so let me give you here. So sum, okay, and then so this is the number of time you are executing. Okay, first initializing, and then sum, and then for loop, and then you are doing the comparison. Okay, and then you are doing sum. This sum you are doing. Okay, and then you are doing sum plus a of I. Okay, and then the final return. So each statement we are telling how many times it is executed. On total it is coming 4n plus 4. Okay, so we can remove 4n plus 1. Okay, so here we already seen, with increase in input, if the rate of, sorry, 1 minute, my screen, I have to scroll down. Okay, so of and here, as the size is increasing, okay, as the input is increasing in the x-axis, how long is it taking for you to solve in the y-axis? It is going linearly. Okay, so O of n is a linear time. As the input grows, your number of requests you need to solve the problem also grows. Okay, so this is considered as O of n. Okay, because when you plot, like now we have formula answer, correct? 4 of n plus 1. Instead of n you substitute 8. Okay, instead of n you substitute 100. So for 8, what will be the answer? 4 of 8 plus 1 is equal to 4 into 9. Okay, is equal to 20, sorry, 36. Similarly for 100, 4 into 101 is equal to 404. Okay, similarly you can plot for 16, 32, you will get answer, right? If you plot, you will get O of n. Okay, so we are considering, instead of telling 4n plus 1, we are considering this as 1, because it linearly grows. Some will be like this, some will be like this. Okay, some will be like this, some will be like this, some will be with for smaller input it will be very small, but as the input grows, no, it will be very huge. Okay, so this is that very huge. This is slowly growing, it is very slow. Okay, so for loop, when you plot, you will get O of n. Okay, the linear thing. So that is why we are telling for loop is O of n, and when you have two for loop, it is O of n into O of n. Nested for loop, it is O of n square. Clear?
Yeah.
Guys, clear? Okay, so we will end the session here. Okay, and we will continue tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.